In this episode, we welcome back James, the head teacher from Lawrence Haynes, and we're also joined by
Nicola Furey, the nurture leader at Lawrence Haynes.
Welcome. Thank you for your time today. So, in this episode, what we're going to talk about is sort of the nurture journey with James and Nicola. And I just wanted to start with the opening question. How did your nurture journey begin?
About 8 years ago, we had a bit of an initiative at the school where the teachers were allowed a day to do something different with a set group of children that they defined. Nicola and her co-nursery worker asked for a day, and then they asked for another day. And at that point, I should have really worked out that it was always going to be something else, and that's how the journey started. Nicola, you started a day of nurture.
A day of nurture. So we identified some children in reception that had challenging behaviour, difficult behaviour, and read up about nurture and sort of read about the principles, read about the toast, read all these sorts of things. Thought, we could give that a go with these children, and we'd do it over 2 days to see how it worked. And it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. You came down in the middle of it, didn't you, as they were doing butter and jam and everything.
Yeah, and little do we know that sort of toast has almost become the metaphor for nurture in our school, hasn't it, for many years now. But yeah, it was a behaviour project across the school. Nurture was one aspect that Nicola investigated. From then, I became head, I think, the year afterwards, and we brought it back to what we'd learned from the training.
Didn't I? So you said to get it on a performance appraisal, to put nurture on a performance appraisal. So then with that comes the training side, and that's how that worked. So I did training, but then obviously it's.
Then the next thing came about once the training was done. I thought that would satisfy Nicola, but then actually a nurture group started being talked about. We investigated that, and at the time, Hertfordshire County Council were involved in sort of authorising, I think, in the county, and we didn't qualify because of the space that we had available. So we thought, do you know what, we're just going to do it anyway, and we're not going to go official, we're just going to do our version of it. And that again has sort of become the bedrock of what we've tried to do all the way through the school. We've just done our own thing, and when I say do our own thing, we've always sought good advice, but we've tried to make it match our context and the people and the children ultimately at our school. The Governor's signed off on quite a heavy financial investment with Nicola and another nurture TA. Yeah. They've got what can only be described as a very small room to be working out of, but they've absolutely made the best of that. Over a couple of years that developed, and Nicola repeatedly, always around performance appraisal time and budget time, would come to me with a new idea, a new initiative, something new to try. And what Nicola's brilliant at is getting the right people on board, finding a guinea pig or a model of excellence, depending on how she's having to package it up, and trying something. So from that we've introduced
massage, mindfulness, no she's learning we're doing, so gratitude. So we've done. Often we grow it small in the nurture group, so I'll trial it myself, see how it works, and then get key people around school to do it. But if we go back to the actual nurture group, when I was trained, I wanted to do it perfectly and classically that first year, as classically as you're taught pure nurture when you go on that 3-day training. And so I was really quite protective over it the very first year and how it was done. But I soon realised actually when you're working in a whole school environment, that actually isn't the right way all the time, and you have to actually adapt. So over the years, it's really adapted as we bring in new things like redraw ink. It's had to change because that takes away some of the time. So we've really adapted it, but keeping it as classically, taking just the same 8 children. It's not an intervention group of or a sin bin. It works when we use the Boxall, we use SDQs, and we make sure we pick the right 8 children. And I would say we always get the right 8 children. So we've gone from that first year where teachers didn't want to give us any children at all because they were protective over their 30. So we took from year 1 and 2 to now having 21 children referred this year that they felt could do some sort of nurturing intervention, which helped. That's why the Nurturing Schools programme helps, because we can put those principles in. We can take 8, but we can actually put those principles throughout all the classes.
And I think that that tension from being running a nurture group in a classic way to me as head saying but I can't give you that. So how can you bend to meet what I can give you? And then Nicola coming back to me and saying, okay, but if you want those outcomes, you're going to have to bend towards me. And it's that real meeting in the middle. what Nicola's been able to do is bring the teachers and the staff on board with me. I've been able to bring the governors on board with her, and we've met, in the middle.
I think you may be coming on to this point anyway, but it's how did you get, say, those teachers to release those children? What proof did you use for that?
Well, the first year it was the backing of James that we have got a nurture group and this is what we are doing. So we will have these children, but it's proving it. So that after that first year it was quite easy, really easy, because they suddenly saw the impact not only on the children's social, emotional and behaviour back in class and around school, but on the 52 others in that year group, because you're impacting not only 8 you take out, you impact the ones that are left behind, because the teacher's able to teach, because a lot of times it's dealing with social and emotional issues at the beginning of the day and getting those children in the right place to learn. So that's what it is. It's getting them ready to learn. Sometimes they're just not ready for the school academic side. They need a little bit more of a step up.
Yeah, and I think the journey of that development. That first year it was me as a head teacher saying, right, we're going to do it, driven by Nicola. Nicola then proving it, people seeing it, and then I came back and tried to repackage it and say, you know what? These children haven't made as accelerated academic progress as their peers. So if that's not going to be the case, this is going to fall flat. We have to have both. We have to have that social rapid improvement and that academic rapid improvement. So it was back to the drawing board again for Nicola about how can she marry both of those needs. Over a couple of years that became...
Absolutely, yeah. You get more skilled at what you're doing anyway, and you learn from your own... it's not mistakes, but it's a journey of what works and what doesn't work, and actually being more disciplined in myself. I absolutely believe in play as a learning tool, but actually how do I use that play to get through that academic side, and that's just got much, much better. I have to evidence in books, they have to and also they have to be back in class on a Friday, all day on a Friday. I'd be selling them short if they're not ready for what's coming on the Friday. So therefore there's some pre-teaching in there. It's working really, really closely as a team with the Year 1 teachers over the planning, knowing what's coming, and conversations daily. It's not just, we talk all the time about all the children, so therefore knowing what I need, where I need to get them.
Evidence in progress, you can't escape that we have to evidence progress as teachers in schools.
Yeah.
Now, we're quite broad in our views of progress, but academic standards are one aspect to measure progress. Genuinely, we tweet a lot at the school and about progress in books and things like that, but genuinely my favourite tweet of the year was Nicola's now and then, or then and now tweet, which was about how the nurtured children are spreading their toast.
They're spreading their butter.
The progress in a month for how they spread a piece of toast at the beginning of the year to now is phenomenal, and it absolutely evidences pure progress in its truest form. So we've developed together, haven't we? About what progress means for us. So I was a bit too data driven as head. Nicola wasn't able to evidence that quite as well as I wanted, and we've sort of again grown together with that.